Third Party Time says, for those saying that Kavanaugh was young when he groped young girls, why don't any of these reporters ask them if it's okay for him to lie about it now that he's an adult? Is it okay to have a Supreme Court full of people we can't trust to be truthful about their past? That is a very good question because, yeah, I think it is a different thing to say, hey, come on, he was 17, and one to say, oh, come on, of course he's lying about it now. Well, why would he be truthful if he's going to go on the Supreme Court? And in fact, YNP7 then writes in, why are we even having conversation about sexual assault? This dude has blatantly lied to Congress on multiple occasions. Perjury should be enough to keep this guy off any court for life. Now, if you haven't heard those stories, that's absolutely right. He lied about two things very, very clearly. A Republican Senate staffer, Manuel Miranda, had accessed and downloaded thousands of computer files belonging to Democratic senators. In a confirmation hearing when he was appointed to be a judge at a lower level in the federal system, they asked him about whether he had received those. He said no, he had not, very, very clearly. And it turns out, we just found out in emails released this year that he did receive them. In fact, one of them said the word spying on it. So clear, absolute lie. In another case, in the case of Charles Pickering, he was nominated to the Fifth Circuit in 2001. At the time, Kavanaugh was working with the Bush administration trying to confirm these judges. Did you work on that? No, I did not work on that case. Now we find out, in fact, he absolutely worked on that confirmation and in fact was the primary person handling that nomination. Russ Feingold, who was one of the senators questioning him back then, wrote a piece saying Kavanaugh has literally never appeared before the Senate and not lied. Every single time that he's come in front of the Senate in any of these hearings, he has lied. So I heard from the Republicans that perjury was enough to impeach someone. That's what they said about Bill Clinton. We have clear, overwhelming evidence of perjury by Kavanaugh, and they're just like, who cares? Who cares? Let's promote him to the Supreme Court. And now, of course, with these heavier charges at play, it also questions his credibility. Now, one last comment here, hashtag TYT Live, to tweet to us during the show when it's live 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Strange Brute says, don't forget that Julie Swetnick's account of gang raping girls who are intoxicated is corroborated by Judge's ex-girlfriend, who says in the New Yorker piece that Judge admitted to such activity.
That's right.
So now read the New Yorker piece. It has a little bit more nuance than that, but the essence of it is very similar to that. She just Mark Judge, and by the way, I got to correct myself a couple of times. I slipped up
and said Mike.
Mike Judge, I feel terrible about that. So if I was a Republican, I'd be like, no, it is Mike Judge.
Totally.
Okay. Anyway, so it's Mark Judge's girlfriend who went out with him for 3 years and said, no, they talked about. He told me about trying to get girls in a state where they couldn't say no, and several men being involved, etc. So that does match the third accuser's fact pattern.
Why isn't Mark Judge testifying?
That's a great question.
They don't want Mark Judge to testify. They don't want the FBI investigation to do an extensive background check. Why?
Mark Judge backs up Kavanaugh's story. Why wouldn't you want him to testify?
It's very strange.
And why would Christine Blasey Ford put Mark Judge, a well-known friend and conservative, friend of Kavanaugh and a conservative writer to this day, why would she put him in the room and make that part up if she was making it up for a political trick? And Republicans, why in God's green earth wouldn't you want a corroborating witness for Kavanaugh? Unless you're afraid of what we might find out about what Mark Judge and Kavanaugh have done together. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.